So, on this week's episode of Be More Super, the podcast, it's going to be a great episode because we've got the sponsors of the show on right now to talk about an exciting auction that's coming up on the 26th and 27th of August. We've got Matt Truex, the marketing manager extraordinaire. Matt, how are you?
I'm great, Brent. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I've got to say, my obsession with movie props, I've had an obsession for years. My wife is slowly coming around to understanding the value of movie props. So if you can just, for the listeners and the viewers, give a quick outline on who Propstore are.
Yeah, Propstore, basically we've been around for over 20 years now. We're an auction house. We specialize in movies and television, original props and costumes, but have kind of branched out to other collectibles, from toys to comic art to, try to get our hands a little bit of everything, posters, But this auction coming up on August 27th, or 26th and 27th is one of our entertainment memorabilia live auctions, which is kind of title we give to these auctions, that biggest titles, the most titles that we can find. So we'd like to say, if you're a fan of pop culture, if you're a fan of movies in general, generally you can type in that movie or television show you're a fan of and see something pop up from it. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting auction, and this is the first time that we've held it in our Los Angeles office too. So that's kind of a big deal for us as well.
And I've got to say, looking over the catalogue of things that are being auctioned, just amazing pieces, from everything you can think of. Where do you find these treasures to put into the auction?
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything, honestly. It totally varies piece by piece. We have great relationships with some studios. So there are some pieces that we'll work with the studios to get them to consign over the years. And then there's some industry professionals that we're very friendly with as well. Phil Tippett, who is a stop motion wizard, we've got a big collection of his stuff this year, from when he worked on the first Star Wars doing the chess game and the Tauntauns and Empire, to even, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or the Raptors and the Go Motion dinosaurs from Jurassic Park. And then we get, every once in a while, the cold calls. Someone calls in and their dad worked on this film and has this iconic piece that we've never been able to find before. So it's really just kind of a hodgepodge of that. And then always just like, we've got a wonderful group of collectors that consign with us a lot, that like to kind of, consign and trade up or get something new in their collection.
And before we jump into the actual auction and the items on offer, do you collect, props working at Propstore?
I have just 2 or 3 things myself. I'm a big collector of art and stuff like that. So the stuff behind me, I love to collect. I don't get as into the props as a lot of our consigners and stuff do, but I've got a few pieces that were holy grails for me.
It's definitely a slippery slope. Collecting props.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got to say. So currently, I have a Superman 3 script from Propstore. I've got Keith Sutherland's 24 outfit from season 5 from Propstore as well, which is absolutely amazing. I did meet Keith a couple of times in the UK. And I did think to myself, shall I get him to sign it? And everyone
sign the inside of the jacket or something.
Said, no, don't sign it. Don't sign it. You'll lose value. So talking about Kiefer, in the auction, you've got his actual 9mm pistol being offered at an estimate of $1,500 to $2,500, which is an awesome piece, which I've got to say is amazing. So key pieces. So let's talk about Superman, because I know there's a lot of Superman collectors out there. And Superman is one of my all-time favorite movies ever since being a small child, especially the Christopher Reeve movies. I had the pleasure of interviewing Colin Chilvers about 5 months ago, who's the Oscar-winning special effects director from Superman. So, he had lots of fun things to say about Derek Meddings that did all the the miniatures. So, what have you got to show me, Matt? What have you got to
Well,
tease my eyes into spending
yeah,
my
you and
money?
I are similarly afflicted with Superman love. As we're talking about miniatures here, we should probably start with this. This is an original clapperboard from the first film. You can even see, director Richard Donner still on there. The cool thing about this clapperboard is it is still has tape on it from the date that it was used, which was August 14th, 78. So not pretty late in production for them. Also, the cameraman is Les Deer here, who did work on a lot of the model miniatures. So it was likely that this was used during some of the effects shots for the film. But
And
I love that piece, because you still got Superman and you've got Dick Donner on there too.
that is awesome. I'm yet to own a clapperboard myself, and I think that is the holy grail for me. I mean, how rare are these clapperboards to get your hands on?
Fairly rare. I don't know that we've had a Superman before. We may have, but the thing with these clapperboards are they only make so many during production. Like anything, a lot of props they'll make multiples of, but especially a clapperboard, if it's something that the crew is using every day, maybe each unit has one and maybe a spare or so. So they're very rare, and especially for big films like that, where people want to keep it for the prestige of it, for the memory of it. So it's very rare to see production material like that.
And the estimate is $5,000 to $7,000. Do you think it's going to go higher? Because I've got to say, looking back at different props from your auctions,
Yeah,
people go crazy on Superman. They
we're
really
we're
do.
we're lucky with that, especially with Superman and in any big franchise like that. We had a clapperboard a couple years ago, and we've got another one in this auction from Jaws. And the cool thing about that clapperboard is it's got the kind of zigzaggy shark teeth.
Yeah,
But I think that one went for something like 50 or 60,000 pounds. So like they can
wow.
go crazy. I wouldn't see this on that, but I can see it very easily going above that $7,000 high estimate.
That is awesome. So a very rare piece,
Yes, very
definitely
cool.
to get your hands on as a superhero fan. And people, they tend to forget that Superman the movie was the first ever superhero film of its kind that paved
Yep,
the way to everything.
groundbreaking.
Sorry?
Groundbreaking film. We wouldn't, like
Oh,
you're saying, we wouldn't have the superhero genre like crazy it is today, without that movie.
exactly. And then not stopping at the clapperboard, you've got a few more pieces, I hope, to tease
Yes,
again my eyes.
few more. Yeah, let's stick with let's start from the beginning, I guess. Let's stick with the krypton of it all. I've
Wow.
got an original crystal here from the Fortress of Solitude. So this is a plexi crystal that they made for the second film for Superman 2. That would have been in the Fortress of Solitude scenes when he's in there losing his powers and fighting the Kryptonians and all that. So I love these pieces. We've got another one in the auction as well, which is just a shard of a crystal, but it's one of the green crystals, which I think is very cool too. But that crystal is this one here is valued at 2,000 to 3,000 in auction, which is probably about right, honestly. But we'll see how it does.
Wow. Wow. I'm lucky enough to own an original crystal from the movie. So I won't be able
Do you
to.
from two or one or?
It's from the first movie. It's not an
Oh,
actual
awesome.
crystal like that. It's a part of the Fortress of Solitude. So it's about 13 inches high, and it was struck
Okay, one of the
during.
tubes.
No, it was like it's a solid like sort of resin, and it goes up and it goes inwards. I wish I had it to show you, but it's the only thing that I'm allowed to display downstairs from my wife, and it's all really nicely box framed and lit up from the bottom. Um, and I actually got it
Nice.
directly from Elstree from a gentleman called Nick
Oh,
Harrison uh, years and years ago. But I've had it for donkey's years, so I'm never going to sell that. That is going to be
oh,
with
that's
me
a
till the
great
end.
piece. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. So,
Good
and
deal, man.
you've got some more crystals apparently,
Yeah, like I said, we've got the other green shard
right?
crystal in the auction as well. I don't know the estimate on that top of my head. Um,
I think the
some
green
other
one's
great
three
stuff
to
in the
five.
Superman. realm. Oh, okay, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But we've got some more production material. We've got the flying miniatures, and last one I've got with me. But I love this piece. We've
Oh,
got a Daily
what's
Planet issue from Superman 2, which is White House surrenders with the president and Terrence Stamp, General Zod over there. I love the Daily Planet newspapers like this. We've had some from these films, we've had some from Lois and Clark and whatnot over the years. I just think they're the coolest things in the world, and so easy to frame too. Like this is the tempting one for me, you know.
Do you know what?
It's
I,
also got the lower price tag of. Go
yeah,
ahead.
it has. Yeah, of $1 to $1,500. So
Yes, yeah.
easily attainable. It really is. I was just about to say, I've been to the offices in London for
Mhm.
Propstore a couple of times, and they had a paper like that displayed in the foyer. And I'm yet to own a Superman paper. And I've got to say as well that, collectors out there, you've got to be very, very careful because there's so many people now that are copying these papers,
Yes.
are copying them and trying to sell them as genuine items, and people don't realize. So obviously getting them from Prop Store, you've got the confidence that it's 100% genuine. It comes with the certificate of authenticity card. So
Hmm.
definitely a place to get a genuine Superman paper from, because yeah, you see Facebook and the internet absolutely sprawled with replicas, and it's shocking.
Yeah. Especially the Stand for Man headline, that type of thing is replicated quite a bit. But yeah, we any auction house like this in an industry where the stuff is replicable lives and dies by their reputation.
Yeah.
So we always make sure to vet everything that comes in. Like you're saying, if it's in our auction and coming with our COA, we're staking our best bets behind it that it's genuine.
So, from the pieces that we've been shown, if someone out there is really interested
Hmm.
in bidding on the auction, if someone wanted to bid on the auction, what is the process for someone to register?
Yeah, it's super easy. Go to propstore.com/live auction, and you can register and generally start bidding right away. Sometimes it's a bit of a registration process. We might ask for some more information, but the nice thing is everything is up and open for bidding right now. So you can go on and register and start placing bids today on what you'd want to see. We also have availability too. Some bidders like to be on the phone on the day, or send their bids in via absentee and have them kind of called out in the room on the day. So those options are available too. I think generally most people like to go on, kind of control when and where they're bidding, and register as online bidders, like I said.
And also, I know that on the site in the UK, you can pay by installments. So if someone saw a piece
Yeah,
and they were the winning bidder, could they then pay that item off in installments?
they can. Yeah, we offer payment plans. So I believe for this auction, it's 3 months. Basically, you do a deposit and then equal payments after that, which honestly most people take advantage of just because it's easier, especially with the world right now. Props are a great investment because in general, pop culture things like this only appreciate in value. But yeah, if you're interested and want to look into the payment plan options, those are always available.
So there you go. So everyone's got a chance, really, because you can pay it off in installments. Do you know what? I hope my wife doesn't see this interview because she'll be like, "No, no, you're not allowed." Um,
Yeah, all of a sudden the next crystal in the house makes more sense.
yeah, it's growing, and she doesn't know why. So
So
obviously, we spoke about Superman, but also one of my favorite movies growing up, which I can't wait for the next one to come out, is of course Tom Cruise's Top Gun.
yes.
What
Um,
a movie! And what have you got, Matt, to show us?
so this is a key piece in this auction for us, but this is an original Maverick helmet from Top Gun from the first film. The beautiful thing of this too is this is obviously it's a movie prop, but it was made from an original fighter pilot helmet. So you can't get more authentic than this type of thing. And the beautiful part on this too is all of this stickering and labeling and the eagle design on the side. It's all original to the piece. There's a lot of pieces like this where it'll come in and, you know, maybe some of the words are missing or whatever, and we'll have somebody sympathetically restore it and make it look like it did, but that was not at all necessary here. So this is a pretty wonderful piece, valued at 50 to 70,000. So it's one of our bigger ones in this auction, but it's definitely a showstopper. You know, everybody recognizes that helmet.
Definitely, and we can't wait for the next one.
Yeah,
You've also got a
we'll have
few.
to, but we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. It's been pushed back with good old COVID-19. Have you noticed a difference since COVID-19? Because props are still being bought and sold.
Yeah, well, I mean, just not to tell tales out of school, we were a little worried about that because a lot of people were, you know, understandably kind of tightening the purse strings. But since COVID, we've had several sales, we've had several online auctions, and they've all gone really well. I think there's what I said before, in that there's an understanding amongst collectors that this stuff really does generally only appreciate in value. And also there's an entertainment element to auctions that I think people still enjoy. You know, it's the same reason Comic-Con streams right now, because we'll all
Yeah.
watch, you know, the cast of whatever sit around the Zoom and do this the same way people will be like, well, there's an auction, so we'll watch the stream and bid along. No, if anything, we've seen an increase in bidding, which is very wonderful to say. You know?
Yeah, you've got I mean, you've got in the auction as well some really big ticket items. You know, you've got the cars from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but you've got quite a big ship from
Yes.
Alien.
Yeah, we have an 11-foot, the giant bigature miniature model of the Nostromo dropship from the first Alien, from the Ridley Scott film. It's an impressive looking piece, first of all. It's been kind of the crown jewel in the company collection for a while. We've run the office for as long as I've worked here. But it's beautiful. The cool thing about that piece too is it was originally designed with all these effects on it, like CO2 smoke and LEDs and whatnot. And it was designed to be shot from any angle. So they have had different ways of mounting it if you needed to see it up front or see the thrusters or whatever. So it is as complete a ship as possible, you know, and went through a beautiful restoration process a couple years ago, because it had been kind of left to the elements for a little bit. But we had industry professionals come in and redo it, and it looks film ready. It's a beautiful piece. I'm gonna be sad to see it go, frankly.
And the videos of that restoration is on YouTube because they documented all the restoration of it. And what I loved about it is that they tried to keep it as exact as possible. And obviously, because it was, you know, a bit damaged over time, you know, they got, you know, they had to make molds of certain things. So the care and the time and everything that went into it to make it look the way it does now, it's definitely going to make someone a very proud owner. Again, you know, where would you display it? You know what I mean? It's just an
Right next to
amazing
your
piece.
fortress crystal. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah, I can imagine the kids not climbing on it. We'll be like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
get down. It's worth
You
a
wouldn't
lot of
lose one of
money.
those antennas at all. Yeah, you'd be fine.
And
Yeah.
what's the coolest thing that you've ever seen come through your door?
So you and I have similar backgrounds. I think I'm a huge DC fan. I'm a huge Batman fan. So several years ago, in our London version of this live auction, we sold one of the Bat Pods from Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, and that thing was I mean, we've seen a lot of cool stuff come in and out, but for me, that was just like, oh, that's from another world, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, employee perks got to sit on it for a second and kind of feel it and like realize how difficult that thing must have been to drive. So really the whole, like, my fanish experience of just being near that thing and getting to kind of, you know, kick the tires, for lack of a better word, on it, I'll never forget that. That was a highlight for me.
I think for me, when I went to the London office last, there was a Michael Keaton Batman
Oh,
suit,
see, yep.
and literally I must have stood 6 inches from it, just staring at it, every
Yep.
detail, and it was bringing back all the memories of going to the cinema to watch it. And the first time I went, it was after the last big auction, and they sold a Christopher Reeve. Well, I didn't realize that Stephen Lane has got a Christopher Reeve costume in his office. So when I
Yes, he does.
when I interviewed him a while back, my word, I want to live in that office. It was just
I know.
immense. And I went to go and see the DC exhibition at the London O2. So they had
Hmm.
all the costumes on display. And all the time walking around, I'm thinking, right, how much would I need to have to collect a few of these? But definitely, if I won the lottery, Propstore would definitely
Yeah.
be getting a lot of my business. So also, just want to go over consignment because the process of consignment. So I've consigned with Propstore before. I had a
Hmm.
lovely 3 card trading card set with Stan Lee, and he actually signed it 3 times. It's
Oh,
quite an odd.
that's excellent.
It was an uncut set, and I consigned it with Propstore. And I've got to say, it was such a smooth process. It was painless. Didn't really have to do much. In all fairness, read a couple of emails and tick a box. I mean, if anyone wanted to consign anything to Propstore to sell, what is the process? Is it literally the same as that now?
Yeah, we try to make it as easy as possible on our consignments. So basically, we have got a consignment form on our website on propstore.com that you can enter. Just give a little information on the piece that you'd like to sell. We always appreciate a photo too, but just like a quick and dirty cell phone photo is totally fine. And then from there, basically, we'll all agree on pricing as to what we want to sell it at. So we take things on consignment, like you're saying, or we'll also, in some cases, just outright buy pieces from individuals if they don't want to wait for auction, or don't know how the auction's going to go or whatnot, or a little trepidatious with that. We can just outright buy them as well. But that process, I'm glad that you had a great experience, and we try to do that for everybody.
No, that's
So
awesome.
just go to propstore.com and look up the consignment form, and you're on your way.
Okay. So, lastly, if you could own a piece out there currently in that auction, what piece would you want to own?
I hope this isn't sacrilege for you, but I
Oh.
am a big fan of Lois and Clark,
Do you know what?
the new.
Wait a second. Let me just on my
New
wall.
Oh, see, there you go,
do
Dean himself.
you know?
So
Do you know
yeah,
what?
we've got. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just about to say I've been trying to get Dean Kane on the show for ages because I'm a massive fan of that show as well, and it's yeah, I've had no luck so far. Don't get
Mm.
me wrong, I've had Ursa from Superman the movie, Non from Superman the movie, you know, and you would think that I'd be able to get Dean Kane, but I don't know what's going on. But no, you were saying you're a big fan of the Adventures of Lois and Clark.
Yeah, in fact, I have a podcast for that show that he's never been on as well. But we've got in this auction the first time I've ever seen a complete Dean Kane suit. We've sold some nice versions of it in the past, but they've never had the boots. Because as you can imagine, that show ran 4 years. They make the boots; they only had errors. So when that suit came in complete, I was drooling over it for days. So that's a biggie for me. If I could, just blank check, do anything in this auction, the Nostromo is tempting, but it'd be the Dean Cain suit.
And what is it about the show that you like the most about the Lois and Clark? Because can I just say, my 6-year-old daughter is called Lois, and my two-year-old
Yes,
daughter is called
beautiful.
Cara after Supergirl. So yeah,
That's awesome.
you talk about a Superman fan. I've got away with that with the wife in calling, and we've got a cat called Clark. But what is it about the show that you like the most?
Perfect. It was the first real exposure I had to Superman, so I think that's a big part of it. And I became such a DC fan up, that always kind of struck a chord with me. I like the their relationship in that. I think Terry Hatcher's got its hokey moments, but it's Superman to me. Like that's what the Daily Planet looks like. That, you know, Lane Smith as Perry White is phenomenal. I could go on and on, but it's just that's the one that grabbed me and brought me into that whole universe. You know.
Do you know what? I can remember the advert for that show. The first time I ever saw the advert, and it was a wavy cape, and then you saw his arm with a tattoo on his arm.
Yes, yeah.
And that was the first ever advert. So when I saw that, I got so excited because obviously you've got, you know, that show, you've got Smallville, which I absolutely love. I think it's an amazing show. And, you've got Krypton that came out. I thought that was brilliant. I was really disappointed.
Yeah, me too. I loved that show.
Yeah. So, and then I'm looking forward to the new show, Lois and Clark. Yeah, so I'm going to be interviewing Elizabeth Tulloch because I met her a while back, and I'm going to be interviewing her on the show, and Tyler as well. So,
oh my God, I'm so jealous. Enjoy, man.
So hopefully we'll have a good chat because she makes a really good Lois. I've got to say,
I thought
though,
that both of them played the parts beautifully. Yeah.
But have you ever met Tyler in real life?
No, I've never met any of the CW, Arrowverse folks.
Right, because he is not as big as you think he is. So
I've heard that.
So I'm 6'2", and when I met him, I thought, wow, because you look at Chris Reeve, I think he was 6'4". Even Dean Cain was an ex-football player, so he's quite a bulky, individual. But he plays a good Superman. I think that we need to not get hung up on, Chris Reeve, and you've got Henry Cavill, which I'm glad that he's staying as Superman. Well, fingers crossed. With the Snyder cut. I've got to say as well, I'm so jealous of people in the States right now with HBO Max because obviously the Snyder cut is going to be released on there, but as of now, we won't get it in the UK. So I hope they sort something out there because I think they're going to be missing an opportunity.
That's going to be a key title for them. I'm sure they'll figure out a way to distribute that internationally by the time that comes. But I'm so jealous that you get to talk to Fitzy and Tyler. They're wonderful. So enjoy that. It was very cool.
And, by all means, what is your podcast called? Let's give it a plug.
So I almost called the show this before. It's Lois and Clark, the new podcast of Superman.
Awesome.
We'll have a new episode going up in a week or so.
Excellent. So I'll make sure that I subscribe to that and give it a listen because, it's down my street, to be fair. But Matt, thank you so much for giving the time to be on the show and talk about the awesome auction. So the 26th to the 27th of August, get onto this website, propstore.com, register, and you can get your bids in now. And good luck for the auction. And I'll be watching it live like I do every year.
Awesome.
I put it on.
Yes, I should mention that we'll have a live stream going those 2 days, the 26th and 27th, with an auctioneer calling off every lot. So that's the fun entertainment of it for sure. So feel free to jump in.
And if you're not bidding, please watch it because I play a game with my wife on how much is it going to go for. And it's a great way on convincing your loved ones to let you collect props because I bought a Hellboy vest that he wore on screen, the Ron Perlman one. And I bought it for £120 and sold it at auction.
Oh, it's a steal.
I know.
Man.
I sold it at auction for just under $1,000 within a year.
Excellent.
I didn't want to sell it, but the wife made me. She'd kill me for saying that.
At least you made a tidy profit on it. That's nice.
Yeah, exactly. So, Matt, thank you so much. You keep safe in this crazy world that we're in now, and enjoy the auction. I think it's going to be wonderful, and I'll definitely be keeping an eye on them Superman items that you've got and see what they go for. And I'm sure on the Superman sort of, forums and circuits, I'm sure we'll see who is the lucky person that that buys and wins that bid, and I'll be super jealous.
Yeah.
All right, Matt.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been great to meet you, Brian.
You too, Matt. You look after yourself.